Why settle for store tortillas that fall apart and don't taste all that great when you could make these sourdough tortillas instead? They're soft, sturdy, and full of flavor. Plus, they freeze beautifully and come together with simple pantry ingredients. I always keep a stash of these in the freezer, and once you try them, you might start doing the same. Hi, friend, come on in. I've been making homemade tortillas, both regular and sourdough, for years, and I just can't go back to the dry, bland ones from the store. These cook quickly without heating up the kitchen, and they're one of my favorite ways to use up extra sourdough starter, whether it's fresh or discard. In fact, I fed my starter last night in order to have enough to work with today. This is almost exactly the same as my regular tortilla video. I scaled back the flour a little to compensate for the flour in the starter. To 2 3/4 of a cup of flour, I want to add 1 tablespoon of sugar, this is optional, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a half cup of lard. I want to get the lard cut into the flour before measuring out half a cup of starter. This recipe is forgiving. A little more or a little less starter won't hurt anything. Work the sourdough into the flour a little bit before adding in warm water. It is important to not use water that is too hot or you lose the benefits of using sourdough. If you prefer to mix your starter into the water first, just hold some back and adjust as needed. This really is one of my favorite ways to use sourdough starter, and I have been making this for years now, meaning I can just dump in the amount of water it takes. What do you like to do with your extra sourdough? Share your tips down below so others can get new ideas. I like to feel my way through this step. A wetter starter means you'll need less water. Drier climates or flours might need more. I want to have a sticky dough when I have added enough water. That kneads to a very soft but only slightly tacky dough. If you watch, I dump in the water where it is needed. I lift out some of the mass of already wet dough to get to the dry bits underneath. Once I have them hydrated, I combine everything together. It might look wet and shaggy at first, but with a little patience and kneading, this comes together into a beautiful dough. I kneaded this for 8 minutes. I have found that the kneading time is very important, making for a light and puffy tortilla. Once smooth, I like to portion this out into balls. I will have a little info card pop up with some suggested weights for general sizes. I like to do a 70-gram weight for a general tortilla size. I can get this to fit in a 12-inch cast iron skillet. Any bigger, and I have to pull out an electric griddle to make the really big ones. With these now portioned and rolled into balls, I like to coat them with a little extra lard to prevent drying out. This is especially helpful if you're freezing them. Your options at this point are allowing this to rest about 20 to 30 minutes before cooking them off, or if you want to get the benefits that come with a long fermentation, place these covered on a sheet pan in the fridge overnight before cooking them off. For freezing, place them covered in the freezer after resting. Once frozen, move them to a sealed storage container. When I thaw one, I place it on a plate with an overturned bowl to keep it from drying out. It should take about 30 to 60 minutes to thaw, depending on how warm your house is and how large the ball is. To cook these off, I start with 45 to 60 seconds on the first side, then about a minute on the second, and finish with a quick 15 to 30 seconds back on the first side to make sure it's fully cooked. You should see some bubbles forming and light browning. Cover with a tea towel to keep them soft and pliable. If you want to freeze already cooked tortillas, cool completely and freeze immediately. These tortillas are sturdy enough for saucy fillings, soft enough to roll, and full of flavor. And honestly, they cost pennies to make. It's a great way to put sourdough discard to work, especially in the summer when you may not want to bake a full loaf. If you're new to sourdough, this is a fantastic recipe to make while your starter is still building strength. And if you're just looking for a better tortilla, this is it. Need a filling? Check out my shredded taco chicken. Ready to build a sourdough starter? I have you covered in the cards. If you enjoy practical, pantry-forward cooking that's budget-friendly and delicious, consider subscribing. There's more coming soon. And don't forget to save the video so you can come back to it later. Thanks for hanging out with me today.